Kelly Osbourne's emotional revelation after Ozzy's death following the heartbreaking death of legendary rock icon Ozzy Osbourne. The world held its breath, anxiously waiting to hear from his daughter, Kelly Osbourne. Days passed in silence, until she finally broke at speaking out not just with sorrow, but with words that hinted at deeper emotional truths and long-buried pain. Her message wasn't merely an expression of grief. It opened a door to the complexities of their relationship and the unseen battles Ozzy had faced. Could her heartfelt confession reveal a side of her father the public never knew? This is the story behind Kelly's deeply personal tribute and the battles Ozzy endured in his final years. The struggles behind the rock star image Ozzy Osbourne may have been one of the most iconic figures in rock music, but behind his fame lay a man grappling with lifelong challenges. From an early age, he struggled with dyslexia and suspected he had severe ADHD, which made everyday tasks more difficult. Then people realized, over time, he also began to experience mysterious tremors. For years, he attributed them to his earlier substance abuse, believing that the damage he had done to his body was finally catching up with him. Then came a turning point in 2003, when Ozzy was diagnosed with a rare hereditary form of Parkinson's disease. That discovery changed everything. He began daily medication to manage the tremors, but the disease slowly took its toll. By January 2020, Ozzy publicly revealed his condition, assuring fans it wasn't life-threatening. However, the impact was undeniable. His hearing began to fade, and he found it increasingly difficult to understand even the voices of his loved ones. By 2025, the disease had progressed so far that it had completely taken away his ability to walk. Living with Parkinson's is unpredictable. As Ozzy once said, "You don't know good days from bad until you're in it. You can plan and plan, but nothing prepares you for how it actually feels." His words reflected the daily uncertainty and physical limitations that became his new reality. Declining health and canceled tours, Ozzy's health continued to worsen over the years. In early 2019, serious flu developed into a dangerous upper respiratory infection, landing him in intensive care. Doctors warned that touring in Europe's cold climate could worsen his fragile condition. Later that year, a major fall at home while recovering from pneumonia forced him to cancel a highly anticipated tour. In 2020, Ozzy called off another tour to receive specialized treatment in Switzerland. Around the same time, he revealed he was also suffering from emphysema. Despite his health battles, Ozzy remained determined and brave. He continued to perform when he could, and even delivered a moving final performance just over 2 weeks before his death. On July 22, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne passed away peacefully at his home in Buckinghamshire at the age of 76, surrounded by those he loved most. The news hit the world hard. We have breaking news. One broadcast announced, British rock legend Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at age 76. Though his later years were marked by pain and struggle, Ozzy never let illness define him. He fought with grace and quiet strength, refusing to surrender to despair. The complex life of a husband and father known on stage as the Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne had another side, one rooted in love and personal growth. His family life, though complex, revealed the deeply human side of the rock legend. In 1971, he met Thelma Riley at a nightclub in Birmingham. They married that same year and had 2 children, Jessica and Lewis, with Ozzy also adopting Thelma's son, Elliot. However, fame brought its own set of problems. Substance abuse, alcohol, and constant touring kept him away from home, and eventually, his first marriage suffered. His children later shared how emotionally distant their father had been, and Ozzy himself admitted that he barely remembered key moments from their early years. Eventually, Ozzy found love again with his manager, Sharon Arden. Their relationship began while he was still married, but love prevailed, and they wed on July 4, 1983. Ozzy never forgot the day was also Independence Day. Together, they built a new family with 3 children, Amy, Kelly, and Jack. After Jack's birth, Ozzy opted for a vasectomy, feeling their family was now complete. He expressed his love through music. penning special songs for Amy and Jack's musical gifts that captured his evolving role as a father. The family balanced life between England and Los Angeles, navigating fame while trying to maintain some sense of normalcy. Ozzy also stepped into the role of grandfather later in life. Though his parenting wasn't perfect, it was sincere. Stumbled, learned, and made visible efforts to grow. Kelly Osbourne breaks her silence on July 25, 2025. Kelly Osbourne broke her silence. After several days of quiet mourning, she chose to speak through Instagram, not in front of cameras or on a talk show, but in a simple, understated post. Against a black background, she shared that she was deeply unhappy and heartbroken, calling her father her best friend ever and ending the post with a broken heart emoji. Though the message was short, it carried an emotional weight that only those who have endured deep loss could fully understand. Her choice of a black screen wasn't excited, was a visual expression of her grief. Her words weren't loud, but they were powerful. To Kelly, Ozzy wasn't just a father or a rock star. He was her mentor, her companion, and a steady force in an ever-changing world. The love they shared wasn't performative. It was real, rooted in music, laughter, and shared experiences. Soon after, Kelly posted another emotional tribute by sharing lyrics from the song Changes, which she and Ozzy had performed together in 2003, 2 decades later. The lyrics took on new meaning, no longer just a duet, but now a memorial. It was a deeply sacred gesture, tribute wrapped in melody and memory, fighting lies and protecting his dignity during Ozzy's final years. False rumors and misinformation swirled, some generated by AI, others fabricated for sensational headlines. There were even disturbing stories about an alleged death pact between her parents. Kelly, grieving but courageous, stepped forward to correct the record. She called out these rumors as not only false but also cruel. Her voice, though emotional, was firm. She reminded the world that her parents were real people, not characters in a made-up tragedy. Despite all the pressure that comes with public mourning, Kelly navigated the moment with honesty and integrity. She reminded us all that behind the fame was a daughter mourning her father, a family saying goodbye to a loved one, and a legacy that deserved respect. Her tribute wasn't meant for fame, was an act of love, healing, and remembrance. A father, a grandfather, a best friend to the world, Ozzy Osbourne was a wild, unpredictable legend. But to Kelly, he was simply Dad. He had always been there through the chaos, the spotlight, and the challenges of fame. Their bond was unique and unshakable, rooted in authenticity and love. As Kelly became a mother herself, their connection grew even deeper. When her son Sydney was born in 2022, Ozzy embraced grandfatherhood with open arms. He and Sydney shared a joyful relationship, filled with laughter, games, and affection. Ozzy wasn't just present, he was actively involved, bringing joy into his grandson's life the way he once brought joy to audiences. One of the most touching moments came in July 2025, during Ozzy's final concert. Behind the scenes, Kelly got engaged to longtime partner Sid Wilson, the DJ from Slipknot. It was a private moment shared with family, not fans, and Ozzy's signature humor made it unforgettable. That day, marked by love and music, became a beautiful memory and a final gift from father to daughter. The wild and controversial side of Ozzy Osbourne, of course. No story of Ozzy would be complete without acknowledging his chaotic public persona. He lived out loud, shocking fans, provoking critics, and embracing controversy. From biting the head off a bat to clashes with religious groups, his antics often overshadowed his depth. Some accused him of promoting Satanism, likening him to figures like Aleister Crowley. He even leaned into the imagery with songs like Mr. Crowley, but Ozzy always denied the label. He was, in fact, a member of the Church of England and prayed before every show. This contradiction between his public image and his personal truth is part of what made him fascinating. Yes, he was outrageous, but he was also a man of emotion, faith, and deep familial love. Legacy of love and music today, Kelly continues to mourn her father. But through every post, every memory, and every tribute, she honors him not just as a Global icon, but as a loving, complicated, and unforgettable man. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy lives on, not only in the music he left behind, but in the hearts of his children and the fans who saw the soul behind the stage persona. Through Kelly's eyes, we see the real. I see the father, the fighter, the friend, and he will be missed beyond measure. Back in 1981, Ozzy Osbourne found himself at the center of one of the most bizarre and disturbing moments of his career. After signing his first solo deal, he attended a meeting with CBS Records executives in Los Angeles. His idea was to release Doves into the Air as a peaceful, symbolic gesture. But things didn't go as planned. Ozzy, who was intoxicated at the time, shocked everyone by biting the head off one of the doves and spitting it out, blood dripping from his mouth. Security tried to remove him from the meeting, but before they could, he picked up a second dove and did the same thing. The horrifying scene left a lasting impression and became one of the most infamous moments in rock history, something that followed him for decades. Then in January 1982, another strange incident took place, this time during a live concert in Des Moines, Iowa. A fan threw a live bat onto the stage, and Ozzy, thinking it was fake, picked it up and bit its head off. It wasn't until afterward that he realized the bat was real. Whether it was alive or already dead remains unknown, but he had to immediately get rabies shots. Oddly enough, Ozzy later leaned into the moment and even sold stuffed bat toys with removable heads in 2019 to mark the anniversary. They sold out quickly, showing how he could turn even the most outrageous moments into part of his legacy. But not all attention Ozzy received was for his stage antics. Some people started blaming his music for violent behavior. In 1983, a Canadian teenager named James Jollymore committed a horrific crime, killing a woman and her 2 sons. Reports claimed he had been listening to Ozzy's song, Bark at the Moon, before the attack. A friend said the song had a strange effect on him, though there was no actual proof it influenced his actions. Still, the incident stirred public concern about the potential dangers of heavy metal music. The controversy deepened in 1984 when a teenager named John McCollum from California took his own life. While allegedly listening to one of Ozzy's songs, the track was actually a warning against alcohol abuse, but McCollum's parents believed it encouraged suicide. They sued Ozzy, blaming his music for their son's death. However, the court dismissed the case, finding no connection. Even so, more lawsuits followed, like one in 1991 from another grieving family, but once again, the court sided with Ozzy. In the early 2000s, Ozzy was sued by former bandmates Bob Daisley, Lee Kerslake, and Phil Soussan, who claimed they weren't properly credited or paid for their work on his albums. The lawsuits didn't succeed, and as a result, management made a controversial move. They replaced the original musicians' recordings with new performances by other artists. Fans were upset, but the original tracks were restored later in special 30th anniversary editions of the albums. Disagreements didn't stop there. In 2010, Ozzy and guitarist Tony Iommi were involved in a legal dispute over ownership of the Black Sabbath name. Fortunately, they settled it peacefully and clarified that the conflict was strictly about business, not personal. Alongside these legal troubles, Ozzy's personal struggles were just as serious. During the 1980s, he revealed that he had killed 17 of his own cats while high on drugs, a disturbing reflection of how addiction had deeply impacted him. Behind his wild rock star image was a man silently battling overwhelming inner demons. Despite his dark reputation, Ozzy had another side, one that was humorous, thoughtful, and kind. Nicknamed the Prince of Darkness because of his music and image. He also had a set of surprising beliefs and personal values. His rebellious streak began early. He famously tattooed Ozzy Y across his knuckles using a sewing needle and pencil. Lead. It was risky and unconventional, a sign of the path his life would follow. He loved humor, especially the British comedy group Monty Python, once called Life of Brian his favorite movie. Though his music was dark and intense, he appreciated silly, smart comedy. That side of him showed during a small fire in 2013 at his Beverly Hills home, where he suffered minor burns. he bounced back quickly, showing his strength. That same year, on his 65th birthday, he asked fans to donate to a London cancer charity instead of throwing him a party. It was a simple but meaningful gesture that showed his compassion for others. Surprisingly, Ozzy also found himself welcomed in political circles. In 2002, he and his wife Sharon were invited to a White House dinner, where President George W. Bush warmly acknowledged him in front of the guests. It was a moment that proved Ozzy's influence reached far beyond the music world. People often accused Ozzy of being a Satanist because of his lyrics and appearance, but he denied it. In fact, he regularly spoke about his belief in God. He had been baptized in the Church of England, attended Sunday school, and prayed before performing. Though he didn't go to church much as an adult, his faith remained part of his life. His advice column, he once joked that he wasn't Jewish, but he was circumcised, mixing humor with sincerity. Ozzy had strong views about the world. In 2009, he criticized the British Prime Minister for spending too much time with celebrities while soldiers were dying. Though not against war entirely, he believed in fairness and responsibility. His songs like War Pigs and Thank God for the Bomb voiced those beliefs. He was against nuclear attacks in World War II, but supported nuclear defense during the Cold War, believing in balance rather than extremes. He was also a lifelong supporter of Israel. In 2024, he opposed a cultural boycott targeting the country. And in 2025, he signed a letter calling out the BBC for biased coverage of the Gaza war. That same year, he publicly distanced himself from Kanye West after the rapper made anti-Semitic remarks. Ozzy made it clear that he had zero tolerance for hate speech, no matter who it came from. He didn't hold back in American politics either. He criticized President Donald Trump's response to the COVID-19 crisis. And when Trump used one of his songs at a political rally, Ozzy responded by saying no political campaign should use his music without permission, especially if he didn't agree with their values. Despite being known for his wild stage presence and shocking behavior, Ozzy was far more complex. He believed in prayer, gave generously to charity, supported his family, and stuck to his values. His image may have been intense, but there was real kindness and depth behind it. But one question remained. How did Ozzy manage to survive such a wild life for so long? His journey was filled with extreme highs and painful lows. From his early success with Black Sabbath to his solo career, Ozzy constantly pushed limits. Along the way, he developed addictions to alcohol, tobacco, street drugs, and prescription medication. His dependency nearly destroyed him. Ozzy's substance use started early in his music career. While other bandmates experimented too, Ozzy's habits were far worse. He drank heavily, took pills and drugs, and smoked constantly. After being kicked out of Black Sabbath in 1979, he locked himself in a hotel room for 3 months and fell deeper into his addiction. He once admitted to using hallucinogens regularly and being intoxicated nearly every day. A concert in Denver in 1971 introduced him to illegal drugs for the first time, and he instantly became hooked. The more he used, the more it affected his career. He canceled concerts, performed poorly, and even forgot major events like the time he fired his entire band and didn't remember it the next day. His addiction hurt not only his career, but also his family. One terrifying moment came when he tried to strangle his wife Sharon while under the influence. Thankfully, she survived and didn't press charges, but Ozzy entered rehab soon after. His behavior crossed many lines. He was once arrested for urinating on a historical monument while wearing Sharon's clothes. Another time he got so drunk he climbed on a table, stripped, and urinated in a music executive's drink. These episodes followed a repeated pattern: chaos, regret, rehab, and relapse. In 2003, Ozzy's drug use shocked even medical experts. His doctor was accused of prescribing him more than 13,000 doses of 32 drugs in a single year. Though the doctor was eventually cleared, the incident highlighted how bad things had become. Scientists even studied Ozzy's DNA, curious how someone with such a destructive lifestyle could survive. Some said it was biology, others thought it was a miracle. Ozzy tried many times to get clean. He managed to stay sober for stretches, especially in the late 2000s, but relapses happened. In 2013, he admitted he had started drinking and using again for a year and a half. He publicly apologized and promised to stay sober. This time, he meant it not just for himself, but for his family. By 2021, his son Jack had been sober for 17 years, and the two often shared their recovery experiences. Ozzy proudly stated that he had been clean for about 7 years. He truly seemed happy with how far he'd come. He had changed. The once wild and unpredictable rock star had become wiser, more mature, and more grounded. Despite all the chaos, pain, and mistakes, Ozzy survived. He faced his demons, admitted his faults, and kept fighting to become better. His story is not just about fame or controversy. It's about endurance, redemption, and the power to change, known to the world. As the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne proved that even in the darkest times, there's always a chance to find light.